What's up, bro? What's up? Really excited to have you on the podcast. Been seeing your content since a very long time now, and we had a conversation before, and that was epic. And I wanted to share like the value which you have provided with me, and also the conversation we had was very intense. And I thought like a lot of people would really find it very valuable if I posted the content, like whatever we talked, the conversation on YouTube, and you're finally here. Thank you for giving your time, bro. It really means a lot to me.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Varshit, for having me. I think what you're doing with your personal brand and your agency and even with this podcast is really cool. And this is my first time doing a podcast. So, honestly, an honor to be here. And yeah, thank you for the kind words and excited for this conversation.
Same, bro. I just wanted to have this as a very casual, free flowing conversation to know more about you, to know more about your journey, your experiences. How was your life like to be an NYU graduate and living in New York City, starting a new what do you say, startup and content creation in general. Really excited for this conversation. And I would like to ask you, like, start this conversation, like, how has your life been and like, how is everything going?
Life's been good. Honestly, can't complain. I'm very grateful for what I have today. If you told me a year ago that I would be doing what I am doing today, I would have called you crazy. So it's been the most challenging year of my life, but it's also been the most exciting because I've just been doing things that I want to do, and I've been talking to people uh, that are really smart and ambitious, and that's the kind of people I need in my life. And yeah, man, I mean, I think everybody has their own struggles and challenges, but to choose your own struggles and challenges is the biggest privilege of it all. So to have the freedom to do that, I think that's what I'm most happy about.
I think the way you said, like, having the, what do you say, the struggle, like choosing the right struggle is very important because I read this somewhere that you have to struggle anytime during the life, and you have to choose which struggle you have to pick, right? I think having this kind of struggle is really worth it in the future. Because if you don't do it right now, you'll have to struggle in later in the future with all the responsibilities you'll have as a family man. Being old enough. Yeah, I think that's so.
Yeah, exactly. I think being a young person, especially in 2024, with the opportunities that we have, you can really transform yourself into anybody you want, no matter where you come from or no matter what sort of beliefs you held in the past. So, yeah, I think choosing your own path, like I said earlier, is the biggest privilege, and choosing your own sufferings at the end of the day is an even bigger privilege. So, yeah, man.
Yep. So take me through your life in general right now. What are you doing right now? Like, what's up in life right now?
Yeah, so I graduated from NYU with my bachelor's in economics and data science this May. After that, I started growing my startup Rome.college. It's a marketplace for international students where international student services in the United States, where we aggregate all the resources you need to start your life in the US. So my main two focuses right now are building Rome, growing Rome as the chief growth officer and co-founder, and also building my personal brand and continuing to create content and having that as a creative outlet. And my third focus is like just going to the gym because I want to become a bodybuilder in the future. So I've been working towards that. It's like a 5, maybe 7 year goal for me. So I know that if I put in the steps right now and put in the reps right now, I'll get to where I want to get to. So everything I do right now has a long term vision behind it. I don't want to do anything for like 2 years, 3 years. It's at least like 5, 6, 7 years. So that's how I'm trying to shape my life right now.
That's crazy, bro. I didn't know that you want to become a bodybuilder in the future. That's really exciting and fascinating, to be honest. Uh, I like the way you said that you wanna put your goals or see the journey for the next like in a long term basis more than like a very short term thing where other people do it. Like a lot of people do it. They're very impatient. Even I used to be in that phase, right? Like I used to be very impatient in terms of seeing the results or just seeing my progress in general, and used to fall in this trap and get off the thing if I don't see any result or progress in the journey.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I think like focusing on long term and having the long term goals is what is the key to the future uh, in your life. So, how was being in NYU like? Because it's a dream university for a lot of people out there. and you got into it. How was the initial reaction of getting into NYU in the first place?
Yeah, that's taking me back. So I just want to give you a little bit of context to those who don't know me, which I'm assuming is
Yeah.
maybe all of you. So I went to high school in Dubai, and I went to CBSE high school, so an Indian high school. I did commerce with math in my 11th and 12th grade. And I applied to mainly US and UK universities. And I sort of knew since 10th grade that I wanted to study abroad. So I started working towards that, building my extracurriculars and building up my profile. I got into NYU. It was the last college I got into actually, and it was like one of my dream schools along with UCLA and UMich. And it was surreal. Like I still remember, I opened it with my family, and we all went crazy. Did not expect it at all because I didn't think I would get in. I applied on the last day of the deadline. Like I was writing my essay 5 hours before the deadline, so it was surreal. And then it was between like NYU and UC Davis for me, but I ended up choosing NYU because of the city and also because of the number of opportunities you get at a more, I don't want to call it elite, but elite school.
Yeah.
And my experience at NYU was amazing. It was very unique. I think we were talking about this earlier in our earlier conversation that you get to experience very unique college experience because you're living in the city as opposed to having your quad and living in a college town. It's more quiet. In this, you're in New York City, you're a New Yorker. You a lot of students, including me, they end up getting their own apartments in their second or third year. So that forces you to sort of grow up quickly. And I really enjoyed growing up uh, rather quickly, I would say. Uh, but yeah, I think in terms of academics, it was all right. Some of the professors I had were really nice. Some of the professors were like, all right. I think in terms of academics, what you will study will not vary so much in terms of what university you go to, whether it's a more quote unquote elite school or more like
Yeah.
state school. But what you really, I think, in any college experience is really up to you to make the most out of it. Talk to as many people as you can, try to do as many on campus jobs as you can, do different clubs, and obviously keep your academics up, but build yourself up as a personality, as a human being. And that's what I think I was able to do at NYU.
Let me like go back to the journey again. I want to ask you like what made you go abroad uh from Dubai actually, like thinking of applying to US or just UK in general.
Dude, that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like it just always seemed a bit enticing and out of reach. And that's kind of why I wanted to do it. A lot of my friends were also doing it, so I thought that it would be a good option for me. I had a couple of cousin brothers who went to UMich and UCLA, so they were sort of role models for me as well. Where I'm like, oh my god, they did it. I also want to do it. It seems cool.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it wasn't like an option to go to India or stay in Dubai because I knew that I could get better opportunities in America specifically. So I was just like, yeah, might as well. I have the stats to back it up, so why not just do it?
Hmm. Like, do you have like a particular reason of why you chose USA instead of UK? And do you regret or like that decision, or just like you're okay with that decision?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think I regret it at all. I think I just got into a better university in the United States, and also the fact that the US offers a 4 year undergrad program as opposed to a 3 year undergrad program in the UK. And you get a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can study in the United States because in the UK you sort of are set out on this predestined path, if you will, and you have to take those courses. Whereas in the US, you can really be flexible with what you want to do. Like, for example, I got into NYU as a double major in economics and math, but I ended up dropping math after my first year and picking up data science. So that flexibility, I think I really enjoyed.
I remember you saying that you like didn't believe that got into NYU, right? And I'm telling you, I've heard that from a lot of people who studying in all the top colleges. Like, I just couldn't believe that I got into NYU. Like, I just couldn't believe that I got into Harvard University. Why is that? Like, see, the core reason you got into NYU was good academics. You had great co-curriculars also, and you have like a very good, what do you say, a common app essay, or maybe just questions, the prompts, and everything, right? So, how hard was it for you to get into NYU?
Honestly, I couldn't answer that question because I don't know what the other side of admissions looks like. I could only control certain things that I could control, and I just did my best. But I would say that as an international student, excuse me, and somebody who went to a CBSE high school, it is difficult. It is more difficult as opposed to somebody who did IB or A levels, because in a CBSE high school, you're really told to focus on your academics, and everything else is sort of second priority. Whereas in an IB school, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are allowed to sort of diversify your interests beyond just academics. So I was lucky enough that I was able to pursue track and field and soccer and public speaking, while at the same time building up my leadership position and taking care of my academics at a CBSE school. And I know a lot of people are not given that opportunity. So yeah, I just wanted to make the best out of my situation as I could.
I really would say, bro, like I'm really proud of you because I know what it takes from like coming from a CBSE school because I'm also a CBSE graduate, and I'm damn sure that if I were in like IB or A levels, I could have been in a better college than what I'm in right now, because the opportunities and the exposure which I get while being in a CBSE school is very less compared to what people get in IB and etc. Right? So I think like you made a mark. That's insane. So when it comes to like, were you already like pre-decided in terms of pursuing economics? Because I don't think like CBSE. Okay, you said you had commerce, right? So,
Yeah.
w- uh, I come from an MPC background, like sciences background. So I don't know if there is economics and commerce before. Was that the
No, no, there is economics in
Oh, there is
yeah,
economics.
in 11th and 12th, yeah.
Oh, so you were already decided that you want to do economics in the future.
No, honestly, I was a really lost teenager. I was quite confused. I ended up getting a college counselor who wasn't a lot of use to me, but he asked me on the first day of our meeting, what is it that interests you most at school? Like, which subject interests you most? And I said economics and math. And he's like, okay, go ahead and do economics and math. Let's apply for applied math with economics everywhere you apply to. And I was literally talking about this with a friend of mine yesterday. I think that's like pretty terrible advice, because simply because you found something interested in high school doesn't necessarily mean that you should major in it at university and get a bachelor's out of it and make a career out of it.
Especially
Rather, what I would exactly, right? Because I wasn't exposed to the sciences like physics, chemistry, math as much in 11th and 12th at all, actually. So if I were to go back and tell myself, like, give myself advice, I would ask myself, okay, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be an employee? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? What actually interests you? What passions do you have beyond school?
Yeah.
And then try to figure out a career in life for yourself, for myself.
I think that's a right way to question ourselves in terms of like choosing what major we have to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
I I remember this situation very well. One day, I was actually like trying to change my school in my 11th and 12th grade. There's this school called Oak Ridge. I don't know if you know about it. It's in India.
Not
So
sure.
it's a very good school. Like it's a very high rated IB school, right? So I was talking to the career counselor or the academic advisor from that school. That's when like I changed my perspective of how I have to choose my major in general. She was like, you have to come from the back, because it it all brings down to like from the back, right? It's like basically putting down to like choosing which career you want to do first, and then what do you have to do in order to get into that career, and what subjects are like similar to that career. Like you it have to come from the behind, not from the starting, because a lot of people do that like from the beginning. Like they choose physics or chemistry and then figure out what to do in their engineering and then figure out what to do that in the career. I think when she said me regarding this concept, like how you pursue and choose your major, I think that's the greatest advice which I got in my life in choosing major. And I suggested that to a lot of people. I think if you want to choose a major, someone who's watching this, who's in like in that 12th or 11th grade, I think you try to approach in that way because it gives a lot of clarity in what to do in your life. And
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think trying to reverse engineer the problem, if you will, like about where you want to go and the steps you need to take to get there. I would also say that uh, most of what you study in college is pretty useless, pretty irrelevant. The courses you pay, like, you're not going to carry them with you in your job or in your entrepreneurship or in your career or whatever. So the most important thing I can tell anybody who's in 11th or 12th or a freshman watching right now is try to build your skills up, build your experiences up. Yes, your GPA is important, but it's not as important as gaining actual practical experience, because at the end of the day, what people care about in the real world is impact and value. what value can you provide to any organization, to a person, or to a person, and how quickly can you provide that value. If you can't do that, then they're probably not as likely to hire you, even if you have like a 3.9. And I experienced this firsthand because I maintained a 3.9 throughout my first 3 years. And then I decided to pursue content creation and startups and whatnot. And then my GPA dipped. I graduated with 3.75. So I can fully tell you that having a high GPA does not mean that you'll get a high paying job. This just does not how it works.
Yep, 100%, bro. I've read this somewhere again. Like, no, like I saw this in a podcast somewhere. Someone told this very impactful word that in India, there are a lot of a lot of graduates, but not engineers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. It completely makes sense, right? Because they have all the good academic scores and etc. But it's all theoretical, not skill based, and they're not eligible in order to be employed in the future.
Exactly, because you have to think about it this way. Almost like there are so many people getting college diplomas.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard to get a
Yeah,
college
it's
diploma
not very
right
hard
now.
now. Yeah.
It's not that hard, especially with ChatGPT, Google, YouTube. There's just so many resources to help you out. So, like a degree or a paper can only mean so much. It's who you are and what skills you possess that will actually bring you the money that you want.
Yep, 100% agree, bro. Uh, I would like to go on to your journey in New York City as being a New Yorker. How was your perspective like shift like to place once you like traveled from Dubai to New York City?
That's a great question, man. I would say it opened my world up to so many new possibilities because I got the chance to meet so many different kinds of people from so many different kinds of backgrounds. I would say as an 18-year-old, when I stepped into New York, I was close-minded, a bit arrogant, maybe wasn't open to new experiences and people. But then I realized that all of these things are just a sham that my ego tries to put forward, and I need to open myself up to the world. And that's what New York allowed me to do. Uh, it told me that I'm a very privileged person. I think that's what I realized in my second semester of college. I was writing an essay and I wrote about privilege, and I realized that, oh my God, there's so many people who could be in my shoes right now. Why am I given the opportunity to be at NYU taking these amazing classes, talking to all these amazing people? It sort of put this obligation and responsibility on my shoulders to make the world around me a better place and just to be a better person myself, because I realized that so many of us are walking around with this insane privilege and don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And I was that person, and I don't want to be that person ever again. So all of the things that I do in terms of shaping myself, in terms of building my personal brand or building Rome, it's all about trying to make use of my privilege and give back to people. So that's like one of the most important realizations I think I had during my time at NYU about how privileged I am and how I need to do something with it. Otherwise, I'd probably lose my mind.
Yep, 100%. I get this thought very often, bro. Like whenever I visit New York in general, I always get get this thought of being grateful for myself and knowing how privileged I am in general. Because in New York, you get to see the both end spectrums, right? One is the billionaires who's riding Rolls Royces all across the streets, and the other one's literally homeless. It's 14 degrees outside, and is sleeping on the streets without a blanket.
Exactly.
And it makes me realize how grateful I should be with the
Mhm.
privilege I have and how much I could do where most of the people are not able to do it like in their situations right now.
Yeah.
I think to be honest, like New York shape like always reminded me of being grateful in general and also motivating me by seeing those people roaming in those Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis in the streets. I think that's a very great place to live in, to be honest, at least in this age, because this is the age where you can actually like most of the mental modeling happens, right? Like all of your perspectives change. This is the age where you can experience a lot. You're not bothered about the traffic. You're not bothered about the chaos which is happening in the city where the older age people do. Because I talked to a lot of my relatives, right? They're like, bro, why New York, bro? You just stay in like the college you're in right now because it's a way chaos in the city and etc. But I'm internally like, I need the chaos in order to be peaceful, like within myself, right? Because any
Dude, the chaos shapes you. The
yeah,
chaos shapes
it
you.
does.
It like to be put in that situation, like New York will really, really test you because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
It is so cold. It's dirty. People will shout at you. It's like you'll smell marijuana everywhere. Like all of these things happen, right? And you won't be subjected to that in a small town or your hometown. So I would say if anyone watching this, if you have the chance to live in New York City for a year or two, do it. Take that opportunity, even if it means making a little bit less money. The way you'll grow that's something you'll carry with you for the rest of your life.
You're literally talking to me right now at this point. I'm like step by before of like moving to New York at this point, to be honest.
Do it, bro.
I really hope I really get there, bro. Like, to be honest, that like I'm calling. New York's calling me. To be honest, it's calling me for sure. So yeah, I was talking about this, right? New York's been great. So what did you like being an NYU student, right? It's all about academics and everything. How did it like uh impact you in general when you started creating content and going through other route? Well, most of the people are choosing academics over anything else. How did it feel like?
I would say that a lot of people at NYU also don't focus on their academics. They try to really, like, for example, if you're a film student, your academics don't matter as much as you actually being in a film and actually shooting a film. And the same could be said for even CS students or even econ students where they try to get internship experience or even get experience on campus. That's what I tried to do because it was hard for me to get off campus internships. So I'm like, why don't I try my hand at on campus jobs? So I did a variety of things. Like I was a basketball referee at one point. I did that for a year. I was a tour guide. I was like leading a group of 25 to 30 freshmen I had them transition to their first year at NYU. So all of these different things, I think really, uh, that's what people like try to focus on beyond just academics. But as for your question about how it felt to start creating content as an NYU student, I wish I started earlier, man. I wish I started earlier because I started in my senior year. And the reason I started is because I was going through my job application process just like everybody else, recruiting for consulting positions and finance roles. That's what I wanted to do in September, October, November last year. And nothing was working out for me. And I was like, honestly, at rock bottom. Like, I don't want to use the word depressed, but I felt like I was depressed. And I needed a creative outlet. I needed to do something for myself. And I needed a way out of this meaningless existence that I was trying to set for myself. So I started creating content purely as a means of a creative outlet to put my thoughts out there and see if anybody related. Honestly, the whole relating thing also just happened later on. It was purely selfish. I wanted to do it for myself. And then eventually people started liking it. I started gaining some followers. And that gave me a lot of confidence in my ideas and in myself. Where I was like, holy shit, like I can actually like make a difference here. Like people are actually listening to me. Like what's going on here, you know? And then a few months passed by, and then I got started like, getting recognized at NYU as well. And I was like, that is insane. But I would say, like, if you want to start creating content at your college and you're scared about like people watching you or like, I don't know, recognizing you, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. People don't care. They might look at you for a sec. They might even approach you and say hi. But after that, they go and live their lives. So yeah, like my life did change after creating content quite a bit. But I was still me. I was still a flawed person who was growing, and I just had another thing that I was doing, which was creating content.
Yeah, that was insane, bro. Like because while I was starting content, people judged me in my college.
Yeah.
Like,
You will. They'll judge you.
yeah, I got judged in the college. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you just study and party, bro. What's up with you? Like, I've heard this comments a lot. And like, are you like so free in your life? Like creating content, or like very what do you say? But the thing, but I was very clear with my intention. I was, uh, it really hurt me like in the beginning, but then
Mhm.
I used to like listen and then leave it from the sea, right? Like
That's exactly what you wanted.
I really like it made me even more strong after that point. Like when people started judging me, like when I stopped caring about their opinions and other opinions,
Yeah.
that's when I really got strong. And right now, even in my life, when people like when I get hate through social media or anything, it doesn't bother me a lot right now. Like it's like fine. Like there are different spectrum of people who like my content and who does not like my content, and it's completely fine because you have to be in that position where people like you and people dislike you. Because that's when you say that your opinions are strong, right?
Mhm.
And that really what makes a creator more powerful and gives you the authority to in order to like address your opinions. I take it very positively in that sense. And right now the same people who judge me come to me and they'll congratulate me on the milestones I achieved, right?
Like, teach me how you did it, bro. How did you do it, man?
They do, bro. Like you're going insane, bro. Like, bro, like you have this many followers, this many views. You're talking to these people. Insane.
It's cringe until it works, bro. It's cringe until it works. Yeah. And I love the way you're thinking, I think, because what you said over there is so key. The reason you get haters and the reason you also get followers is because you're standing for something.
Yeah.
You are taking a stand. You're not just this person who lives in the middle. Like, you're like, okay, no, I believe in these things and I want to attract people who also believe in these things. But with the nature of social media, you will also attract unwarranted attention, and that attention will turn into some sort of hate. And I've also received a lot of hate in the past year that I've started creating content. And I would lie, bro, like it gets to you at times and gets to you.
It gets
But it also makes you so much stronger because you need to have such a thick skin if you want to put yourself out there online. And yeah, I think that thick skin only starts to develop once you actually start to get the hate. Like, you have to experience it. You have to go through that shit where people are calling you all sorts of names and making like all of these comments and assumptions about you. It's very amusing after a point where like, oh my God, like you're so sad and insecure that you have to say all of these things about me.
Yeah.
It's quite amusing. But yeah, I guess that's the circle of life.
I think I also feel sorry for them, bro. Like, to be honest,
Exactly.
it's like such a negative people in general. And in this age, like 2024 and the coming years, I think it's gonna get worse. Um, I've recently like read this study, right? A lot of people are getting more negative and getting more depressed in their own sense, and they start judging people, and it's just gonna grow in the future.
Yeah.
So
It's sad, dude, because I feel like a lot of us, ah, this is getting deep. A lot of us are quite lonely and we don't want to admit it. We're like constantly on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, constantly looking at other people's lives, including myself, man. Like,
same.
though I have all of these followers behind me, I'm still constantly comparing myself, and it's a daily battle, dude. No matter how much stoic wisdom I give myself, no matter how many times I journal, it's still like, man, I'm not doing enough. Man, I need to do more. I like, why is this person gaining more followers than me? And it's a toxic cycle, but I think one way to get out of that is just to start creating and think like a creator and stop consuming so much. Yeah, sure, you can consume and still learn, but you need to create in this day and age. And what you said right there is so interesting. What you said was it's going to get worse. And the reason it's going to get worse is because there are going to be some creators who are just going to take off. And there's going to be some people who follow them and also start to take off. But there will be a lot of people who will feel left behind.
Yeah.
Who will be like, man, why didn't I start doing this? Or why can't I do this?
Yeah.
So if there's anybody who's watching this right now, like take those steps, start creating content, because there's another video I watched recently. Like, if you feel like you're not good at writing, create content. If you feel like you're not good at speaking, create content. If you feel like you're not good at editing, create content. If you feel like you're shy in front of the camera, create content. There's so many solutions that creating content provides you. And let's not even talk about the leverage it creates and the number of people that you can attract and the fact that you can get on camera and do this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about that. It just like enriches you as a person.
100%. That video is from my section. I have to give that credit.
Exactly. Yes.
Bro, even I felt the same thing. Like it like I really like I'm also into that area, right? Like in that industry in terms of like entrepreneurship journey which I'm pursuing right now. But like putting that on the other side, the skills it taught me while creating content is just insane. The confidence I got while I'm creating content is just like mind blowing, right? And I really like resonate with you in terms of comparing myself with the other people also around in the in the same industry. Uh, Even though I try to develop that stoic mindset, to not compare myself and be positive in whatever doing, like not comparing with others, but just comparing with myself from where I came from. I think like most of the creators will also result with that. That's like also the con of making like being on social media, right? Comparison is a real thing and it hits you hard. It really hits you hard.
Yeah.
And I would say I used to take these breaks, bro. Like I usually like stop consuming content in my sector. I just used to upload my reel, post stories, whatever doing, and just get off the gram.
Yeah, that's the best. So that's what I'm trying to do
Yeah,
as well.
it helped me for a while. But then I have to be on Instagram, bro. That's my job, right? Because I have to learn what's happening on Instagram. I have to understand what other people are doing, see like the top creators are doing in my space also, get inspiration from them. I think like it's a hard reality, and I think it's all about like tolerating for like the longer duration and being okay with
Exactly.
comes down to the end.
I think also what people don't talk about is that you have to be so disciplined with yourself.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of producing content and making sure like you're staying consistent with your uploads, but also with not getting too sucked into social media, because it's not real life. It's a highlight reel for most people, right? There's not enough people who are being authentic, and that's why I think like we were able to attract each other because of being authentic, whatever. But I think you have to be so disciplined in terms of how much you're consuming, and really like place holds on yourself. Key like, no, I can't consume more, bro. I can't keep doing this to myself because it's so severely affecting my mental health. And that discipline is hard to come by. But I think those who are able to inculcate that into their lives, it just spreads into their other areas of their life as well.
Yeah. I would actually give the give away a free tip to actually like stop consuming content in general, right? So I read this somewhere. Like the 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour before you sleep is what like runs your entire day. And I see a lot of people, even my friends, my family, and etc. First thing they do once they get up is open Instagram, scroll reels. That's the worst thing you can do in your life. And also while sleeping, they do that and sleep.
Yeah.
So while sleeping and right after you waking up, you're basically comparing yourself
Yep.
with something which is not even real sometimes,
Yeah.
and seeing the highlight parts of someone's life,
Exactly.
which is the worstest thing you can do with your entire life, right? Because the entire day always be running in the same spectrum of comparing yourself with others, and yeah, I think that is just gonna get worse. So
I
what
think what you're saying is literally scientifically proven.
scientific it is scientifically proven, yeah.
If you be on your phone as soon as you get up, like your cortisol levels in your brain rise.
Yeah.
Cortisol is like your stress hormone, I believe.
Yeah.
And if you're on your phone before you go to sleep, then you're giving yourself a lot of unnecessary light. I don't know which light it is,
Yeah.
but blue light, I think. And that doesn't let REM happen, like rapid eye movement, which allows you to dream, which allows you to rest. So a lot of your bodily functions get fucked up. Sorry for my French. But that's what ends up happening. So like, dude, you're calling me out right now when you're saying this. Like, I do this. I scroll on my phone like before and after like getting up. Like, but I'm trying really hard these days. Like at least 30 minutes I don't look at Instagram, because otherwise it really sets the tone for your day, man. It's like you do feel more anxiety and more like hopeless about the future. So yeah, because you saw a few reels. Crazy.
So it's basically like you satisfy your dopamine, your early dopamines with the reels you consume, right? So and it repeats. And for the entire day, you consume like you can actually try this like experiment, right? Stop seeing reels for the first part of your morning and also the night of your like your day. You consume less content for the entire day if you do this thing.
Yep.
And if you do the exact opposite, you consume more content, and it's like proven for me in my life multiple times.
Yes.
And it's not even like a placebo effect. It's like very scientifically proven, because you constantly want to open that Instagram and see those content going, because the dopamine, like it satisfies you all the time.
You want to see those likes coming up in your notification. You want to see, oh my God, you commented. Did I get any followers? Did my follower count go up? All of these bullshit things. Reason you give yourself to look at Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
It sucks, man.
It sucks. It really sucks.
But like we were talking about earlier, I don't want anybody to think that we're some privileged brats who are talking about how hard it is to be on Instagram. This is the suffering that we've chosen. This is the path that we've chosen. So, hey,
yeah. So we are happy with to take that what do you say, suffering into behind.
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. So how did you transition from getting into college, choosing the very what do you say, a risky path of pursuing your startup, which is Room? Because I know for a fact, being an NYU student graduating for 3.7 GPA, that too in economics and a data sciences, right?
Data science, yeah.
Data science major, you would get a 6-figure job for sure.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I tried my best and I was not able to get a 6-figure job, man.
Really?
It's not that easy, simply because you have a university name behind your back and you have a GPA and you have a major. it doesn't work like that. You have to have more experiences. And the truth is, I didn't for the roles that I was applying for. And I didn't have the skills that they wanted. And I honestly would have been a terrible employee. So I'm glad I'm not in the 9 to 5 corporate ladder. Uh, but in terms of like me choosing the risk of building a startup, the way I think of it is it would be riskier for me to not do the things that excite me and okay, let me rephrase this. It would be riskier for me to not pursue my dreams. Simple as that. I don't want to live in any sort of regret when I'm 30 years, 40 years old. So I want to take as many risks right now. I want to make a lot of mistakes right now and work on myself. So I honestly like building a startup like Rome, given the mission and the impact that we're able to generate. It just is a no brainer for me. It makes a lot of sense. And sometimes it's hard because, like, especially I would say right now, we're going through a bit of a phase. So for us to be able to navigate that uncertainty and continue to keep going, it is difficult because you don't know if you're going to get paid 6 months down the line. So that uncertainty is there, but also it's exciting. It's like, holy shit, like I'm actually living this life. My life is a movie. I'm living in New York City. Like people know me, like all of these things I hold on to so that I can keep myself going and just have gratitude for where I'm at. Every single day I'm grateful to wake up and do these things.
Yeah.
um so yeah, man, like I said earlier, I'm very privileged as well, so I don't have to worry about certain things in my life, so I'm able to do these things. And yeah, I think so. I don't really look at it as a risk. I look at it as an opportunity, and I look at it as an opportunity to better the world around me.
First of all, that's a great, like you actually broke a very big stereotype, like having your university back in the name and
Yeah.
getting a job. That's not what I thought actually, to be honest.
Yeah. I didn't think that either, bro. Yeah. No, so for real, like I thought that if you would do this, you would get a job, like everything would be chill and cozy and fine. It's not like that, guys. It's competitive out there. You need to set yourself out, set yourself apart in some sort of way.
That's insane. And the second thing is the way you see it as an opportunity more than a risk is just insane. So tell me more about Rome. Like, why did you even get an idea of starting the startup? Like, with the co-founder, I think his name is what's his name?
Krish.
Krish. Yeah. So like, how did it all happen? Like, why did it start?
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about this. So I started growing Rome and building Rome about 6 months ago now. June, second week I started. And Krish reached out to me in May of second week, so around the time I was graduating. He saw one of my stories where I was talking about how there's so much potential in the international student market and how the international student market is ready for disruption because nobody's building around this and there's so many problems that we need to solve. So I just put that story out there because I firmly believe in putting my thoughts out there and seeing how the world reacts to it. I think it's super exciting. It's like a scientific experiment. So he replied to my story. He was like, "Oh, I'm building Rome. Let's chat." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's chat." And he told me a little bit about Rome. We actually ended up getting on call 3 weeks after that. And he was at this international student conference called NAFSA. And he called me from there and he's like, "I want you to like come on as like the head of content and I want you to basically lead all of our growth efforts." And at that time, I was already involved in two other startups. One of them, which was with my two other roommates, and one was with another guy I met online. So I was like, I don't know if I can do this. So I said no to him initially, but he was just super persuasive. And he got this idea back in like December to March. He was ideating December of 2023 to March of 2024. So he'd been working on this for a while. He had already got a CTO. So he's also a co founder. So we're three co founders, Adler, and he already had a software engineer. So he was starting to do things. And I saw this opportunity and I saw his drive and we met and then we talked and it made sense. So I was like, okay, fine, let's do it. I'll come on as a co-founder and chief growth officer and I'll make content and I'll do all the other things that we're doing in terms of growing. And that's when we started. I ended up dropping one of the startups that I was for working on with the guy I met online because it wasn't working out for us very well. So I'm like, okay, I'll do the startup with my roommates and I'll do the startup with Rome. And building Rome just took so much of my time along with creating content for my personal brand that the startup that I was working on with my roommates ended up never happening, even though I still firmly believe it's $1 million idea and I would love to talk about it. But we just never ended up launching because it was a SaaS and we'd never run a SaaS and we weren't technically proficient and all of these things. So 5.5, 6 months ago, we started building Rome. We did like this whole 8 week long webinar series designed to prepare you for life as an international student. That's on our YouTube. We got a bunch of creators, got a bunch of people involved, basically with the purpose of educating people and helping them prepare for their life in the United States. started creating a bunch of content, went and filmed in Times Square, Brooklyn Bridge. So we hosted a party for incoming international students in New York, a picnic in Central Park, blew up, got like 18,000 followers off one reel.
What?
I think yes, three of our videos are at 1 million views right now. So it's been a crazy journey. Trust me, it's been a crazy journey because at one point we gained like 6,000 followers in a day. And I was like, what the hell is going on right now? So yeah, man, I feel like it's taught me a lot about growing a brand, customer support,
Yeah.
being a manager, being a leader, being a teammate. Also, just like taught me a lot about social media marketing and what sort of content works and what sort of content doesn't work. And it's made me push my boundaries as well and made me do a lot of things that I'm uncomfortable doing, like filming in public and post, like literally having millions of eyeballs on me. So it's only been 6 months, but it's already feels like it's been an experience of a lifetime. And I know we have so far ahead to go, like at least 3-4 years of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it kind of happened. Now we're a team of, I think, 9 people. Not everybody's full time. So we have some interns and some part time people. But I think the team that I work with is so exceptional and so brilliant, even though we're so young. Everybody's so driven in their own way and proficient at what they're doing. So it's a privilege to be able to work with them and learn from them as well. And also be able to give myself to other people too. So yeah, all that to say, like, I never thought this would happen. And it just goes to show how much your life can change in 1 year, provided you're willing to put in the effort. I'm sure you also relate to this. Since you started creating content, you're doing all of these podcasts and meeting all of these people. Like your life can really turn around
Yeah.
once you actually start putting in the work. Um, so yeah, man, I started putting in the work and things started happening for me.
Like why was like I mean like why did you choose Rome than the other startups in general? Like what was the vision he sold you?
That's a good question. The vision he sold to me was that we'll solve housing for international students in the US because housing is one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problems, international students face. And with the whole marketplace that we've launched and are also launching 2.0 coming, by the way, Rome.college, check it out. Um, it's like the idea of it makes sense. It just makes sense to vertically integrated housing after solving for all of these other things that people need, sort of like your low hanging fruit, if you call it. And there's a lot of money to be made. I will not shy away from saying that. There's a lot of money to be made. Not that we're making any crazy amounts of money right now, but there's a lot of money to be made by helping a lot of people. And what I realized from this entire experience, Rashid, is like you will get rich if you make money for other people. You will get rich not just in terms of the amount of money you make, but in terms of the relationships you build and in terms of your mindset as well.
Yeah.
So my entire focus right now is how can I help other people and help them make money and make their lives easier, because I know eventually, maybe not right now, maybe not in the next 3 months or even in the 6 months, eventually I will get those rewards back.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like sort of my mindset right now.
Nice, nice. Like so tell me about Rome. Like what does it actually do to students right now at this point?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it's a marketplace for international student services in the US. So let's say you're moving abroad in January, right? And you need your bank account, credit card, SIM card, health insurance, all of these things set up. Uh, Usually what you would do is you would do a random Google search, go through some Reddit forums, get an expensive option, get an like a bad SIM card provider, get stay on your university's health insurance plan, not switch out to a third party plan. All of these things end up costing you thousands of dollars along the way. And you don't want to do that, obviously, because studying abroad is an expensive venture.
Yeah.
So we aggregate all the resources you need by partnering up with all of these businesses that already exist in different verticals, from banking to SIM cards to credit cards to health insurance to taxes to visas to food. We've partnered up with all of them, put them all in one place on our website, on our marketplace that you can scroll through today, Rome.college, and you can subscribe to any of these services for yourself. That's like, and it doesn't cost you anything. Like, it's literally free. You can access it, like anyone can access it. So that's the main thing. And along with that, we also build community, because people come here, including myself, without knowing anybody. So you need to have that sort of community to keep going. So we've built like a WhatsApp community, a Telegram community. We do webinars. We do all of the content that I put out is focused on education and trying to bring people together. Um, we do that. And then there's also a tech portion of it. So we have this thing called Xena on Rome.college, which basically is like this AI chatbot that asks you for your information. And we want to create this find and be found feature where you're able to find and talk to any international student in the US simply because you've put in this little bit of information on our website. So there's a lot of moving parts on Rome. I think what a lot of people see is what is on the outside, which is the content that we put out. But there's so many people working on the back behind, and there's a lot of partnerships, there's a lot of emails, there's a lot of contracts, there's conversations with investors that we never talk about. That all of these things happen, and yeah, man, that's essentially what we're about.
Oh, you are raising funds with the VC, or is it just bootstrap right now?
Yeah, we've raised a little bit of funds.
Oh, you did. Oh, that's insane. Yeah. So, how's your journey been so far? Like, how when did you start this thing? How long? 6 months? You say
Yeah, like I said, 6 months.
6 months. So, how did it like? What do you see yourself going through in the next coming years, like 2 years, 3 years, with this startup you're running right now?
Dude, I have no idea. I have no idea, and that excites me, and I'm fine with that because I didn't know what my life was going to look like in 2024. I was super uncertain. I just took a leap of faith, and I was like, screw it, we'll make it happen. And that's kind of my mentality going into 2025 as well. I have certain projects that I want to work on. I think I got inspired by you to start my own podcast as well. So I'm going to be starting that soon too. And yeah, just trying to take Rome to different heights as well in my personal brand too, because now I feel like we've gone 0 to 1, but how do we go from 1 to 10 or 1 to 100? So for that to happen for me, I need to just change myself as a person. I need better systems like we were talking about. And yeah, just fundamentally change how I work. So that's what I'm going to work on in December, January, and just try to set up these systems and see what works, what doesn't work, and just see where the ride takes me. I don't believe in having any sort of concrete plan as such. Maybe I should. If any investors are listening, yeah, we have an amazing plan. But at least personally, like I just want to see where the ride takes me, and just keep working on myself and just trusting in who I am and just let the universe decide for me.
By the way, like, bro, are you like comfortable in sharing like how the business model works with the room? You said like you offer like free services in terms of the market space, giving all the resources for free. Yeah. Because I was checking your website lately, and I really like was impressed with how it looks and like what all were there in that, like when it comes to the cellular services, the food services, and etc. Yeah. Talk me through the like how you actually like earn money, like how what's the main source of income from Rome be like?
Absolutely, yeah. We've talked about this earlier on. No problem talking about it now too. I think it's a very interesting business model for myself as well. The way we earn money is basically by being a middleman. So, like I said earlier, we connect students with businesses that already exist, and Rome is the middleman. So when you come on our platform and you make a purchase, we get paid a little bit. Like we get paid an affiliate income by the businesses that we have partnerships with, that we have contracts with. That's like our main source of revenue right now.
Okay. Do you also like charge any consultation fee in terms of like talking with like helping or mentoring with someone, or
No, no, not at all.
oh, it's mostly from the affiliate program which you're running, right?
Yeah, like our main source of revenue right now is through our affiliate partnerships.
So basically, the value you're providing to the people is for them. It's basically for free, right? Like you're not even like charging anything, even with the social media thing. The information that I've been providing with the social media, like it's impressive, right? Because
Yeah, that is our whole idea.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, our whole idea is that we're seniors helping juniors. We're not some corporation. Like we're just dudes. We're just people who are just like been through this stuff. You know what I mean? So we don't want to charge anybody any crazy amount. So we don't charge them anything. And that's the case for now. Who knows what will happen in the future? But we want to make it free and accessible to all.
That's pretty valuable, bro. Like, the value you're providing is insane because I know like a lot of people, even with me myself, I used to struggle with to like. I wish Row was like started way before, right? While before I was coming to college. Like I would really like hop on to like Rome's Instagram and see what all can I do, and check through the website and ask the chat bot, which I was experimenting lately with the F1 program. I think it's Sonia, right?
Yeah, that's a different chat part.
That's a different one. Yeah, that's the one I'm only. Yeah, it's with the F1 visa, immigration, yeah, everything, right?
It's a F1 visa interview coach.
Yeah. So yeah, I would really use that if that would have happened a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty interesting, to be honest.
Appreciate it.
I really wish like this reaches every international student, whether in India or maybe any other country, and like I just wanted to boom, bro. Like get big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hope, man. That's the dream.
Yeah. So, how's it so far? How do you enjoying the conversation until now? Are you
I
good?
love it, bro. I love talking about like Rome and my journey, and also just different mindset shifts. I think I would love to talk to you about like mindset shifts that you've had since you started creating content, because I was thinking of making like a series on that. I think a lot of people want to create content, but there's this stop by certain limiting beliefs that they have,
Yeah.
and they need to just tell themselves and just convince themselves of.
Yeah.
So I want to know, I guess, from you, like what sort of things that you have to tell yourself to actually be successful at what you're doing when it comes to creating content.
In the beginning, I would say like I was very skeptical about creating content, to be honest.
Right.
But then Beer Biceps was my greatest inspiration of all time. Like he's been my idol in terms of content creation or just life in general. And he's a
Right.
creator himself and also an entrepreneur, right? And he sees content as an entrepreneurial pursuit more than just content creation.
Yeah.
So I started off content creation by seeing content as a business. Like I operate content as a business, right? In terms of making systems for it, in terms of just delivering the content to the people, in terms of taking feedback and then making it better every single day, and also managing my team. And like I just see this as a business opportunity, to be honest. And later on, I actually started this in order to start my freelancing journey. That was learning editing and then learning like earning money from it. That was the main reason why I started even making content. And then I started as a what do you say? I started editing my own videos before just to learn editing, and
Yeah.
it was mostly focused on like fitness content, something related to like fashion content and etc. It was a very big mix, right? And
Yeah.
I did a lot of mistakes in the beginning, uh, and that's the reason why it stopped my growth in the beginning of content creation in general. My content was good, but the target audiences which I was reaching was very diversified in the
Right.
beginning. And I think any content creator who's starting right now shouldn't make that mistake, because I didn't make that mistake in the other page, which went to
Mhm.
like 45K right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the biggest mistake. And a lot of things which come in between, right? Like we don't focus more on like the hook in the like in the beginning. I used to like not care about hook or maybe the scripting or the storytelling arc and etc. But later realized how important that actually was.
Yeah.
Like I used to watch all these Instagram gurus talking about all this thing. I don't know why they say like they have a bad name of calling them as Instagram gurus, but to be honest, they really have knowledge and actually it works. Like
Yeah.
whatever they're trying to tell right now, it actually works on Instagram, right? There are some like really I don't want to call it wrongly, but they're actually dumb. But they're dumb people who say like hashtags work, keywords work, and all these things. And I followed that in the beginning. I used to have like 3, 4 lines of hashtags, but it never worked. It just gets you the exposure in the explore page, and like it doesn't work, to be honest.
It's very minimal, bro. I think
It
the
it
impact.
it's the impact is like 1%, 2%, bro. You gain like 100 views out of like 10,000 views with the hashtags and etc. So it's not a lot of views. But thing is, you have to focus more on the fundamentals, right? Like uh, the fundamentals of just like being authentic in general, sticking to one topic in general, and expanding in the future. The storytelling, the editing, the scripting, systems, and etc. I think that's all what matters. In the starting, I had to force myself, despite the judgment I get around, like surrounding, like people, because
Mm.
they used to judge me a lot. Like they used to make inner jokes, while I was there, like while I was literally present there. Like they used to ask me, like, "How is it going? How is it going, bro? Like, how is content going? How is that reel going, bro? Like, and all this shit." And I used to like, I know for a fact they're coming from a very negative perspective in like
Yeah.
asking me that question. Like they were asking me like sarcastically, right? So that was a main thing which I faced in the beginning, but then I slowly like uh you know grew from it. I stopped caring about what my other people are thinking. I just kept going. I would say like there are certain people in my life who supported me a lot. Even my mom, like she really understood the value of like content in general. So she started like she supported me from the beginning. Like she always like told me like these are the mistakes you have to do and like uh she was being a very big supportive. Even like my dad, he never like questioned me or like stopped me from making content in general. I think that's like the biggest privilege when like your family supports and appreciates it. Yeah, I think like that's the biggest thing you can have in general, because a lot of people don't have the privilege where parents support. Because I speak to a lot of people, right? And most of the people, they say like, my father won't allow me to do all this thing, like my mother won't allow me to do all the things. But I usually tell them, bro, do it secretly until it blows up,
Exactly.
and then once they see the results coming, they'll support you eventually, right? That's what I
Dude,
tell.
that's exactly what I did as well, man. Like when I first started creating content, like I think I grew to like 2,000 followers or something. And then I told my parents, I was like, listen, I'm not applying to jobs anymore. I just want to pursue content creation full time. And my dad was like, he was like, what are you doing, bro? And then I went back home and we had this conversation. I remember it was like 2, 3 hours in my parents' bedroom. And I was just like, I don't want to apply to jobs anymore. I want to see where this content thing takes me. They're like, but okay, maybe look for jobs in Dubai, because I call Dubai my home. And I was like, no, dad, I don't want to do it. And then he got mad at me. I got mad at him. But then eventually, like, I think for anybody who like has like parental pressure of not doing this thing, show them your work, show them that you're actually providing value, show them that you're putting in the work, and like literally sit in front of them and edit, bro. Like if that's what it takes. And they'll like dead around with it. And if they actually start seeing results, because at the end of the day, like our world is superficial. Sorry to say, but our world is superficial. People care about the numbers, people care about results.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can make 100 videos and like whatever, like not post them, whatever. I put in the effort, whatever. But you have to show the results, and then people will start to come around.
100%. I would like to know, like, how was the environment like, bro? Like, why you told your parents that you're not gonna pursue a job anymore? Like,
Yeah.
like you're gonna build a startup. How was their reaction? Like,
Dude, at first it was like I didn't tell my dad in a very optimal manner, I would say. He was at like a wedding or something, and I told him. It just came up in conversation. He's like, oh, have you been applying to jobs? And I was like, oh, I haven't applied to a single job in 3 weeks. And he said, what have you been doing? He's like, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I do something else. I create content. And he's like, I'm disappointed. And I was like, shit, lost my opportunity there. But then he's like, okay, we'll speak once you get back home to Dubai. So I went back home and then we actually had a conversation, and they were very open minded because they saw that I was actually doing good work. And yeah, like they were just like, yeah, try it. If you believe in it and if you want to work hard at it, like try it, because they know this one thing about me. If I actually want to do something, I'll actually do it. If I don't want to do something, I'll probably suck at it. So that's just one thing I know about myself as well. So I told them, like, I want to do this and I'll make it work. I don't know how it'll happen, but I'll make it work. And they were like, okay, fine. We'll support you. Like, we'll just like, yeah, we'll support you. And they've shown me a lot of support. Like, they were really happy when I hit 10K. Like my mom keeps sending me messages of my follower count, and so it's been really nice. And they comment on my videos and they share it and all of that. So I'm like I said, like you said, bro, like I'm very grateful to have that sort of family support as well. So yeah, it wasn't easy to convince them, but once I showed them like yeah, it's working, they were able. They got out.
it's really very hard, bro. Because I would say, me being in college, to be honest, I had a safe net because I'm in college. I'm also making content, so I'm doing both of them right now. But I don't know, like, how hard was it for you? Like, you're ending the college, you're in your senior year. You say you're not applying to jobs, and it's like, what's wrong with you?
Exactly, dude. I was questioning myself also. I was like, bro, what are you doing right now? But it was just so much fun. I just love doing it.
It is, bro. Like, it's very hard, especially with parents like handling all these things.
Yeah.
Uh, they really like supported me in this scenario. So I was like, I wasn't like, they were like, just do college, just get your degree. I just don't want anything else. Do whatever you want, because even they know for a fact that if I like love something, I'll definitely do it. And if I like, I could relate with you that the same way, right? Like, if I really love studying, I get like top marks in my class or whatever I do. And if I don't love the subject, I don't even like study for it, right? So it happened with me from the beginning. So they trusted me with this. And once I saw the other page, this one, when I started like doing podcast, earning from the agency and everything, you're like, okay, wait, he's doing something now. And I think it's
I think a lot of parents, if there's any parents listening to this, don't make your child live the life that you've lived right now, especially if they have different dreams. And know that your advice might not always be the best for them, especially if they want to go somewhere else in life, if they have different goals from you. If they want to be an entrepreneur and you've been a salaried employee all your life, then perhaps they're better off taking advice from somebody else. And that's not like offensive to anybody or anything. That's just the truth of the thing. Is like you just don't have any experience in that. So like if your child wants to do something that's different and unconventional and they're actually willing to work at it and they're actually good at it, let them do it. Like, who knows what might happen.
Yeah. And I would also say this also, bro. Like it also applies to the different way, right? My father wants me to do a job. He's a businessman himself, but he wants to me to do a job.
Right.
But me, I take inspiration from him in order to do business, and he's like, no, it's like very stressful, it's very hard, you like it's very hard for you, it's really very hard to succeed in this, it's a lot of stress. I think doing a job, you can earn more also, like if you stick to the path, like to the job in general. But the end question is, are you satisfied with it? Like are you even like providing your best at doing the job, is the question I ask myself all the time, right? Because I know, like, if you stick to the job for a longer year, you'll definitely get a very high package in the future. You'll be only like helping the company grow, to be honest. You can take an exit after 10 years and start working on something on your own, but I don't think that is what suitable for me.
Dude, I think a lot of people think that and they end up just staying in their corporate job. They have because it's too comfortable. It's you comfortable having a salary hit your bank account every single month and you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
And once you have that sort of comfort, you don't want to exit it and nobody can blame them for it.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people think this and they never get into entrepreneurship. And also like what our parents went through back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, getting their job and getting a job right now is just so different. Also, the world was not as interconnected as it is right now. You can literally do business with somebody from, I don't know, Bolivia and like actually make it work because the world is so globalized and there's so many career opportunities that didn't exist before. So it's all about like just opening your mind up to different things. You don't have to be an engineer, lawyer, or doctor or CA now anymore. Like you can be a content creator and a startup founder and a personal branding agency owner. You can do these things and make money, you know? It's an exciting time to be alive, I would say.
And I would say, like, someone who's, what do you say, thinking jobs and degrees and like everything is important. This is straight away coming from an NYU graduate who graduated with 3.7 GPA. So remember when you are trying to like comment or think about it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say uh, like right now the world is like endless. Like you can do whatever you want with like, and you want to live wherever you want. Like it's you get the freedom right now.
Yeah.
And I think you have to break that chain, the mentality that only degrees can make your life better. Only degrees can, what do you say, like you can make your life best with the degree you have or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I would
Yeah, I
say,
think getting a degree is a means to an end. It's not your end goal because at the end of the day, you want to live a life that you feel fulfilled with, that you have, like you said, freedom in. And so, if there's any young person watching this, try to build a life. I made a reel on this recently. Try to build a life instead of just building a career.
yeah,
In your life, you can have an amazing career, but you want to really think of your day as like how what does my ideal day look like? What does my day look like if I knew I had all the money in the world? And if you don't have all the money in the world, you can start working towards it. And you might never even get your ideal life, but the point is that you're on the path, you're on that journey, and that's what matters because you only live this one life. We're all going to die, so might as well try to maximize life outcomes and opportunities as best we can.
yeah. Uh, One question which is out of the spectrum, which I want to ask you is, do you believe in like God in general?
Oh man, you opened a can of worms here, dude.
Yeah.
I am. That's an interesting question, dude.
Because when you talked about like if you're gonna all die in the future, that's what made me think about like talk about the spiritual aspect of your life. Like
Right.
I just wanna go deep as a human being level on how you actually think about life in general.
Yeah,
Like
I love that.
yeah,
So here's my here's my thoughts as a 22-year-old. I was an atheist, I would say, as a teenager. My family raised me as a Hindu, and I would participate in all the pujas and stuff, but I don't know, it wouldn't make as much sense to me. So I started rebelling against my mom. I was like, Mom, I don't believe in these things. I'm an atheist. And at that time, I had limited knowledge of how the world worked. And then as I started to grow up, and especially recently, I think I've become a little bit more spiritual. I still do not subscribe to any organized religion because like, I shouldn't say this, but I think organized religion causes a lot of harm in our world. But I do think that I'm becoming a bit more spiritual because I'm starting to believe that maybe my God is the universe. Anything I ask of the universe, it has given me. I fundamentally believe that I can shape my universe as I want it to, provided that I'm willing to work for it. So if the universe gives me everything I want to give, and if it is something that I cannot understand, then maybe it is my God. This is something I've been thinking about a lot. I don't know where my conclusions. I don't know if I've concluded anything. I will still continue to think about this. Uh, but yeah, I think I'm starting to become a little bit more spiritual by understanding that like the universe might just be God, man. And I think God is just a manifestation of the universe. Brahma, Vishnu, Allah, Jesus, all of these are just manifestations of the universe because we don't understand God at the end of the day, right? God works in mysterious ways. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts on that.
What was the like one thing which made you realize that believe in this energy, the universe thing, and everything? Like
I
one.
think I started to believe in manifestation a lot because, especially like in the last year with my social media growth, and it's just like the way my life has shaped out to be. I realized that I set out on this goal where I was so hell bent on making my life work no matter what happened in January, and it worked. Like in December, I'm sitting here talking to you, and it's working. So clearly, something worked, and that's because I just wanted it so badly, and I was willing to work for it. So in a way, I manifested it. In a way, I shaped my reality and tweaked my universe to make these desires happen for me, right? And that made me realize how powerful that is to have that self belief and that belief in the universe. So as soon as I started believing in manifestation, I started to understand, okay, maybe like everyone is connected and we are all one and we all share these same energies and you get what you put out in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that realization made me want to, I guess, explore this side of me a little bit more.
So you basically believe in karma, right? Like, whatever you put to the world, like that's what you
I
get.
guess so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so.
How did it shape you as a person after you started like realizing this energy? Like,
I would say it grounded me, it humbled me, it made me realize how small I am. I've always had that understanding because my one of my favorite images ever taken in humanity is the pale blue dot. If you've never seen that image, I highly recommend it if you want an existential crisis. It's basically a black image with a blue dot in the middle, with a ray of light on the left side, and that blue dot is the Earth, and it's taken by Voyager 1 or Voyager 2 from
oh,
I
yeah,
don't even know millions
yeah,
of away.
I know, yeah.
Exactly. So it made me realize how small we are and how our actions are pretty inconsequential. And that if I ever live my life in the fear of what others think of me and what somebody might say, whatever, like it just doesn't matter. It really does not matter at the end of the day. Like, so just live your life and do what you want. And so I think those realizations started to happen for me. And yeah, sorry, what was your initial question?
Like, what made like how did you change as a person after you just like started understanding?
Yeah, I just realized that uh, most people's opinions of me don't matter. Only the people I care about, their opinions of me matter, and there's very few people I actually really truly give a shit about. So I just need to make sure that I'm a good person to them, and that's that's it. That's literally it. Everything else, like whatever you want to do, as long as you're a good person, you have good intentions, and you know that in your heart that you're honest, you do whatever you want. Make as much money as you want, build whatever business you want. Don't build businesses if you want, but be an honest and good person. That's what
Yeah.
matters at the end of the day.
I would say like in terms of seeing my life in general, I always think about death. I don't know what other people are gonna like get triggered with this, but to be honest, I think about death a lot in general. So like not in a negative way. It's not like death is a negative way. It is gonna happen eventually, right? So everyone's gonna die here. So I think about in a very positive way. Like what all like how would I be like would in which situation would I be if I like am on my deathbed? Like would I be satisfied with my life, the life I lived for the entire years? Because I want to make it worthwhile, right? I want to die happily that okay, I've done all these things in my life I've experienced all this joy, all this love. I've experienced all this fame, money, power, and everything. And now I'm really happy and satisfied with my life. And what can I do right now in order to feel the way I'm gonna feel while I'm on my deathbed? So that's how I approach life in general at this point. Like if I feel what do you say, scared of doing something, of taking a risk or something, I always think like you will always feel happy that you've taken this risk and you faced this fear and went through it and you have achieved something. And this is definitely gonna make you happy while you're on that deathbed telling your stories to your grandchildren.
Right. Right. That's amazing. Having that perspective at a young age, at 19, is insane, bro. Because not a lot of people have that perspective, and that's why 99% of people live a life of regret. I would say most people live the same exact life every single day because they're too afraid to change, and when they are on their deathbed, they're faced with all these regrets and realities, and that's not what either of us want.
Yeah. 100%, bro. So that really shaped my perspective in of doing great things in life, or just going to that what do you say, extreme uncomfortable situations right now in order to make my life comfortable in the future.
Right. Exactly.
So
Work for like 10 years right now in your 20s and then live a comfortable life later on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe in a work-life balance?
Oh, that's a great question too, man. I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. I've tried my best to have a work-life balance, but some days you just got to work more, some days you got to live more.
Yeah.
And some days you can balance it. But it really just depends on what is important to you. If your work is really important to you and you're so bloody passionate about it that you can't think of anything else, if you're doing life stuff, then you're probably going to feel like, man, I shouldn't be here. Like, it feels weird to be here. I need to be working, right? But if you feel like you're at this phase in your life where you're like, okay, I don't know where I'm going towards, I don't know like if something's working out for me, then just enjoy life. Maybe like take some time out for yourself and just step back a little bit. I think that's okay, and that's advice that I need to listen to myself.
Yeah.
So work-life balance, I think it's a lie that we're told so that we work 9 to 5 and then we don't work 5 to 9 and then we do it all over again. So it's really very subjective, I would say.
Yeah, bro. I look at this in a different way, right? I see work-life balance in a very long in spectrum. Like,
Right.
if you take like 50 years of your life in general, let's assume you have like 50 years of life. I say like from 20 to 30 is where I don't see a work-life balance in general. Like, I see work-life balance should exist in this 50 years of life, where 10 years you're working and 10 years you're just balancing your life with the family and you're resting your life. Like, that's what I believe. Like, a balance should exist in a very ultra wide perspective of your life rather than like a closed, like a 1 day of your life, right? Because all I think is if you go all in on one thing, have sheer focus in one thing, you'll definitely make it. There's no point of like failing at that point. Like, if you're really trying hard, why would you even fail, bro? Like, why would you even
Right.
fail?
You bring up a good point because you bring up the concept of just having long-term thinking and just sticking to that one thing for a long enough time, because you're right. Like most people don't stick to things for a long enough time.
Nah.
And if you do things for 3, 5, 10 years, you're bound to improve. You're bound to become a better person. You're bound to become good at the thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And you probably won't fail. And there will be some people who might fail even after 10 years, but the chances severely reduce.
Yeah. But even if you fail in those 10 years, you'll learn a lot in that, what do you say?
Exactly.
In the 10 years. And you'll be able to, like, what do you say? Bring in the results in the next year, like, within no time.
Then you're an overnight success.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you're overnight success. It's a internal, what do you say? The private victories
Right.
which shaped you for the entire, like, 10 years. And then you are succeeding in, like, overnight. And people see that and are compare themselves again.
I think I read this quote recently where it said something along the lines of work in silence so that they celebrate you, like work in private so that they celebrate you in public. But that celebrating you in public is very rare, and the working in silence is every single day.
Yeah.
So
The most
to get to that celebration, exactly. So to get to that celebrate where people are celebrating you in public, you just have to keep working on yourself and just keep working on yourself. That's the only thing I know.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I think we are end of this conversation right now. Really, really like we spoke about a lot of perspectives in general. I would say like we went deep into topics, which I didn't expect to go. this conversation, but we really did. You are a very deep person, to be honest. The way you think about life in general, the perspectives you have really are, what do you say, could be of very value for people out there who's watching this content. And if I think like if you're watching this podcast by this and like like
You're the real
you really
appreciate you sticking it out.
yeah, appreciate you for that because you've gained a lot of value. Because even I in this conversation gain a lot of value, and I think yeah, it's basically
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I think that's very kind of you to say. And I just want to reiterate what I said earlier on is what you're doing is really cool, dude. And it's really inspirational to see you do this. You're so young and your head is in the right place. So just keep doing what you're doing. Be humble, stay grateful, and keep working hard. And anybody who's listen to this, don't take life so seriously, but take yourself seriously and build the life that you want. Pursue your dreams no matter what anybody tells you, because you don't know what's on the other side. You truly don't know what's on the other side. And yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. It was honestly a great conversation and a true privilege to be on here.
thank you for acknowledging it too, bro. Like I really enjoyed it. You give a very big brother kind of vibe, bro.
I've been
Like
told that.
I really look after you as a big brother, and I'm very excited to meet you when I come back to New York. I really want to meet you. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I'm coming this December. I'm coming this December.
Okay. When you come here. Well, let's talk about this after we end.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, bro. So yo, 1 second. I'll just stop the recording now.